What's going on, guys? Today is October. It is not October. It's August. August 13th, 2019. My name is Josh Moxey. I'm an aspiring entrepreneur documenting my journey. And in today's episode, we're going to be talking about IleSoniq. Got back yesterday morning, and yeah, yesterday was so silly. By the way, I tried to reflect on wine. So I've wanted to do this for a long time. I wanted to drink a few glasses of wine on camera and then reflect. I ended up rambling so much. I ended up saying words I was not intending to, just going down not necessary rabbit holes, and it was just a mess. After 3 sections, so I got to the end I was just about to start what didn't work, and my final point was drinking during this, because it was such a bad idea. I ended up taking a nap, and then I was like, fuck it, I'm not going to use that footage. Let's just restart tomorrow, and this is what we're doing right now. So, Reflections is a weekly episode where I get on camera after I'm done reflecting my week, and I share my insights, my lessons, my experiences, what I've been thinking about, things I've been pondering, all types of random stuff in my reality, in an attempt to document my journey at a very deep level, and then also bring you guys potential viewpoints, action steps, situations, or my experiences, if you will, mindsets that you can apply in your own experience and in your own life, and hopefully you can learn from my lessons, so you don't have to go through them yourself and can speed up your process of whatever you are looking to accomplish. So, without further ado, let's get into today's episode. Like I said, IleSoniq last weekend, so I was in Montreal. That was awesome. And yeah, whole random stuff to talk about, but a lot of good content this week. So let's get into today's episode. What's been on my mind? Mentally preparing myself for my job. So I haven't got a job yet, but I'm pretty mentally committed to Starbucks at this point. This is all I think about in terms of job. I just really want to become a barista. It's just all consuming right now, really. And so I've been thinking a ton about how this is going to impact my plans, my schedule on a daily basis, reflections, business. It's just going to impact so many things. So I'm thinking a lot about that. Thinking about ways I'm going to be spending the money, how it's going to help me with my financial situation, my debt, a ton of things. So there's going to be positives and negatives, but I have to roll with it, and it's going to be a fucking huge opportunity once I get it. Haven't even applied yet, but it's mine. It is absolutely mine. Girls have been very on my mind as well. I want to create some momentum in that area and break patterns and confront fears and anything really related to that right now that I feel I want to evolve in, because I just haven't given this any attention or time in such a long time, and it would be nice to, because I desire that right now. I desire that. What were my favorite wins? So there wasn't a ton of wins this week, work heavy wins, if you will, but there was a lot of social wins, a lot of personal, I don't even know what you want to call it, mental wins, mental preparation. I felt like I was much more independent this week. So for example, I'll count one of my wins as busing alone and back to from Montreal and back, and that felt really good to just do that type of shit on my own, because last time I was doing it with another person, and it almost it took away that fear for the first time type of thing, and then made it a lot easier for this time. But it was just it just feels fucking nice to do things on your own with the independence, knowing that you can do it. You don't need someone else to be with you, if you will. So that was really good. I also felt like I had some nice social wins in that I felt much more comfortable in the crowd this week at IleSoniq, and just honestly just with people in general, being on the bus, being in the crowd, being with my friends in Montreal, so many things. I felt much more comfortable with people, and I guess I'll count that as a win. I rewrote my resume a few times, I rewrote my cover letter a few times, and getting close to applying. I should honestly, realistically, I should probably just apply today and get that over with, and then follow up sometime soon, maybe the next couple days or in a week or so. And yeah, fuck man, I really want this job at Starbucks. It's gonna be so much fun. Had this really cool meeting with the co-founder of Air.io, so AIRR.io, and it's for extracting golden nuggets from podcasts and sharing it with others, as well as saving it to access later. So I think I use it, and it's really cool, especially the exploring part. But I'm gonna get on a fucking tangent if I go down this road. But anyways, Sam Rukeyser, I think I'm saying that correctly. I reached out to him because I knew I learned on a podcast that he used cold messaging and cold DMing to create relationships and connections, and I'm specifically talking about like in a business sense, and that's been something I've always struggled with. So reaching out to him last week, I think I talked about this in last reflections. I reached out to him, and then the actual meeting, if you will, was on Sunday night. That was fucking sick. Like, he gave me so many golden nuggets and just like great tips, tactics as well as mindsets. It was so fucking good. And I'm so glad he let me record it as well, because I can go back and listen to it at any point. I'm gonna sit down and take some notes, because it was just like, it was so nice. And what was extra cool about that, by the way, is as I was recording it, I'm like, holy fuck, the world, like, beginners on sales could really use this type of information. So for me, I was like, honestly, midway, I was starting to imagine I was the interviewer for fun, and pretending that I was the interviewer or the host of the podcast. And just like, even though this is not necessarily being released, though we could clip some of that stuff and make it its own content, because that would be interesting. It was like an 1.5-hour call, but there were specific parts that would be super valuable for the world to hear, if you will. So I had to get Sam's okay with that, but that was really fucking cool. And for me, that meeting right there was like my quote unquote practice run of interviewing, and it just like showed me that, yo, this would be fucking sick if I took the time to start interviewing people, because I have areas that I want to get better at. I want to learn more, and I'm not going to be like the prep guy for interviews. I just don't want to, or don't want to invest the time at all into that. I'd rather just learn in real time and come in with a beginner's mindset type of thing on a specific topic, or that person's backstory or whatever. But just like this in general, I just feel like collaborating more. I'm really just intrigued by people right now. I feel like this is an annual summer thing where I enjoy people so much. And it makes me really happy, because I'm moved out of coding and moving into like the people business, if you will, which is business. Oh, and also at IleSoniq, I gave 13 shoulder rides, I think, or maybe more in one day. It was crazy. I was just on a mission. Almost all different people, by the way. What worked? Asking people for favors and asking people for advice. I sometimes find myself, I just like try to avoid asking for things and like talking to people, but people do want to help if they can. And for me, like favors such as asking people if they could record me, or record the stage, or record the video like of a crowd or something like that, or if I could go on their shoulders, or random things like that. And then favors, not even necessarily like favors, more so like advice. Asking for advice as well, meaning where is XYZ situated, like where is the water station, is this XYZ bus, like just being more comfortable asking for that was really cool. And people do want to help if they can, and I had to keep reminding myself of that, but it worked out well, just asking for things. Moving around a lot in my group, because we had like a group of like 30 at least the one day. It was crazy at IleSoniq, like, which also led to just a nightmare moving between stages, so that didn't work. But aside from that, it was really fucking cool. And we did learn our lessons later, because we fucked up and we went, like, we were supposed to go to Joyride, and then it just took like an hour to get there. We should have taken like 10 minutes, but we have so many people. It was just a mess. But we learned our lessons for 7 Line, thankfully. So, where was I going with this? 7 Lines, group, right? Hanging out with so many different people in the group. I like pretty much jammed with almost every single person and just kept moving around and having fun with everyone. It was so much fun doing that, and then not just staying with one specific group, one specific clique, if you will, inside the group. So I'm glad that that worked out like that, because I created a lot of fun moments with every single person, basically. Making candy that actually means something to me. So I don't give a fuck about the idea of, I don't know, trading culture, if you will. This thing where you just like make candy to trade. I don't give a fuck. I want my candy. Like I made two candies for other people, just with the intent of giving, not with receiving back. But I just made candies that meant a lot to me. Like I had one for sober crackhead, which is more because sober, but like I look fucked when the specific songs come on, that is. And then had like my favorite artists on there, Murata, which by the way is Mastodon, but he changed his name because I don't think I've talked about that since. What else do we got? Yeah, Dues Paid was a good one. All types of random stuff like that. So it was cool to get candy that actually meant something to me, because for the longest time I just had no candy that had any relevance except for improved Rave Central. So it's cool. Planning everything in advance with Notion, and equally not over planning. So in the past I've done an awful job of overpacking, over planning, over everything. This time I tried to simplify things a lot more and also keep things organized within Notion. A+. I fucking love Notion so much. I will never stop talking. I'm sure I'll stop talking about it eventually, but I love it so much. It just organizes everything for me. So having like boards in there of to-do, doing, done, lists of things, packing lists, having a list of like everything I took so that I can make sure I brought everything home, an eating list, a list of things I need to buy when I'm there. Everything was just properly organized. I also underpacked, and I took like less shirts than I needed to, less clothes. Took some food, like I took like craft dinner and soup. I got some eggs there. I also got muffins and bread, and that worked really fucking well. So I also took like protein powder as well. I also wish I had water though. I wish I had cleaner water when I'm there, because I had to drink disgusting ass tap water, but that's on me, because I could definitely fill up if I chose to. I just don't really want to. So being okay with being in a caloric deficit, and also not caring so much about macros while I am on vacation, quote unquote. So for that, I just, all weekend, I think I was in a decent caloric deficit, and probably, yeah, like it wasn't the end of the world. Like it didn't matter that much. I wasn't hitting my protein properly. I had to sometimes just let go of these crazy perfections that I expect when I'm here, and it's just not the end of the fucking world. So only bringing my phone and not bringing my laptop. This is the first time I've done this, trying to travel without a laptop. It was really interesting. It worked fucking well. I have Google Docs, I have Notion, I have Apple Music, I have my podcast, MyFitnessPal, basically everything I need, like the true essentials. I have everything on my phone. So I do not require a laptop right now. Yes, I am not able to edit, but it's just like a quick pause, if you will, and I can come back and edit. And ideally I have things set up where they can be scheduled so I can have shit rolling while I am gone, because that would just be more ideal than what I did, which was just nothing. Getting a portable charger again. So I lost mine last year at IleSoniq actually, and it's so much better now because not so much better right now, what the fuck am I saying? My phone battery is not so great right now, so just like having that additional charging support makes all the difference. It's also really helpful for people who need it around me, and that felt really good to help give people that boost in iPhone energy, if you will. And that really helped for one dude. He was texting a CEO about a job, so that was really useful for him, because his phone fucking died like just as he was getting the text or whatever, and he couldn't reply, and I saved his life. Also, I don't understand this whole like Juul thing, but people are also charging their Juuls with my portable charger. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? I look over, there's like random things in the USB. I'm like, okay, what's happening right now? But it was good to help everyone out. Also with water, that worked really well as well. Just like giving people water who are in my group. Feels good. after action review on all types of things. So I love the reflection, and like the weekly reflection is so fucking good, especially getting on here is also a massive part of this. But taking the time after I'm done something on like a Monday or whatever, I'm not gonna necessarily remember all of the lessons and it's not gonna hit the same when I'm reflecting on it a week later, as opposed to, if I took the time to reflect right after, I would have a much more detailed feedback analysis loop, if you will. So just like going through and doing a quick AAR, which is the after action review. So like, what was supposed to happen, what actually happened, what worked, what didn't work, what did you learn, what would you do differently next time? Those are kind of like 6 good questions to ask yourself to properly reflect on it. And I want to just do a better job of doing this, and I did it for IleSoniq, also another thing, and yeah, it's good. It just also helps me take away from the overwhelm, if you will, from the weekly reflection. Getting a third-party muscle test on a situation that was private in nature and that I was overwhelmed and stressed out by. So I can muscle test, and I also don't like to muscle test when I'm too attached to something. Like I am too attached to the outcome of the situation. And in this specific situation, I was just stressing out about it. And I was like, okay, there's no chance I'm even going to bother muscle testing, because when you're attached to the answer, you're not going to get a clear yes or no, because you're going to be influencing it too much. The attachment fucks with it. It's just not good. So taking the time to just quickly like jot out on a note, like what is the most ideal, so asking the question and then listing possible answers. Like, so what I did was, what is the most ideal for XYZ situation? And then I wrote down A, B, C, and listed out option A, option B, or other, okay? And I got mom to muscle test because she's able to muscle test as well. And this made me just calm me the fuck down after, because I finally had some clarity, and I didn't have to test on my own because she wasn't involved with it. It's just awesome because source knows the question. She's just a conduit for source, a tool for source, whatever the word you want to use is, a puppet for source, if you will, to channel that energy, that truth. So where is it going with this? Yes, it is cool to have someone test it if I'm too like overwhelmed about things. So grateful for that. Hanging out with people after the rave. So I love hanging out with people at the rave, and it's equally tough at times to talk to people while I'm so involved in the music, though I did a good job of that this time, like much better than ever after, in terms of having conversations while I was in the crowd. Like, I loved the music this time, but I still made an effort to just chat with people, and all different types of people, which was cool. Just like basically everyone, which was awesome. So the reason I'm saying this, post-rave hangouts. It's so nice after a festival's done to just go and chill and talk about things, light conversation or deep, depending on how we were feeling. And specifically 5 of us. You got Nick, you got Alana, Sarah, and Anthony, and then myself, obviously, for the 5th. Nick went to bed a little bit earlier than us, and actually Tony was there for a little bit as well, for the first night at least. But Nick went to bed a little bit earlier, so that we ended up staying up till like 4 a.m. every night, just like chatting about all types of random stuff. And it's so fucking good to talk after a rave. I feel like that's where bonds are truly born, is in between raves, like in between the days, if you will. And it's so fucking nice to chill with really good people and just talk about whatever comes up. We had some cool discussions about music, about sacrifice, about, honestly, I forget it all, but it felt really good, and that's the main point right there. So, what didn't work, and how can I improve it? Reflections with wine. So I ended up rambling. I ended up saying all types of random stuff. It's already so cognitively demanding that it was just not a good idea to add wine into the mix. Even too much coffee is a bad idea, so let alone getting fucking just lightheaded and just like woo-woo and just everywhere from too much wine. It's just a bad idea. So, but it was worth the experiment, I must say. And now we are here recording it way fucking better, hopefully. Not posting my podcast even once. I found myself procrastinating on this, but it's not even procrastinating. It was lower in priority, and I was focused on other things in front of it, and it just kind of just fell off. And it would be nicer if I could just follow my schedule. That'd be really fucking good. And then if I could just do that, I'm fucking golden. Other key actionables are prioritizing later in the day and closer to at night, rendering while I'm sleeping, doing it anyway, and adding things to the power list. That should get me caught up, because I'm like literally a month and a half behind right now. It's a sick joke. Swearing too much. So I find myself, when I have too much pressure on me, or I can't find a better word, I just default into fuck. It's questionable. I'm not so proud of the swearing these days. It just kind of sounds silly at times. So as time goes on, I'm leaning more into trying to find better words to replace these like blank slates, if you will, or not blank slates. Like I use fuck in so many wild card, and actually I use it tons of times in useless ways as well. And I really have to figure out how I'm going to be able to do this with the upcoming job, because when I'm talking to customers, I don't want to just randomly drop fuck and shit and all of these words that I use so much in my content and when I'm talking in real life. So yeah, not sure how I'm going to do that, but just practice will be very useful, and just picking better words and taking the time to think things through rather than just bleh, like this word vomiting all over people. Setting my expectations way too high for a given point in my journey on the festival, if you will, or setting it completely on perfection, meaning I was too attached to how things were working out, and I felt like if they weren't working out a way that was in my mind, that it wasn't working out properly, which is a very egotistical way of looking at things. And when I was in that type of state, it started to fuck with my mood completely. So the best action step I found for that is to surrender, accept what is, and start to see things through Source's eyes. Like, what would Source see? How would Source see this? And in reality, I'm quickly reminded that like reality is just, it's happening in a perfect way. Like, it's all perfect, it's all divine, it is all exactly the way it should be. And going with the flow is so like cliche, but it's so real. Because if we try to oppose flow, it's so much harder, it's so much more uphill, and also being like detaching from this idea of it should be this way type of thing, because it's just a silly way of thinking. Like, what the fuck do you know? We're just humans. We don't know fucking anything. Like, in the grand scheme of things, we're so small in our knowledge. So anyways, just going with the flow, accepting the moment, appreciating it, and giving thanks for what it is, and just not giving a fuck. Using phrases in texting like BTW, PS, and also. I use these three all the fucking time. I feel like I need to transition everything properly. It's just silly. It would be much better if I just said something instead of trying to make everything flow, because I don't know, I overuse those, and I feel so silly when I'm doing it. So coming up with a new word or new go-to, or just practicing saying without it would be beneficial. Letting potential judgment stop me from acting on certain things. This honestly just applied everywhere this weekend. I would just like let my fears of possible judgment, possible ostracizing, anything in that type of realm stop me from doing certain things. A practical example is like in the morning I found myself, I kind of wanted to just like peace out from the condo for like an hour or two and just go work. And I just let myself kind of just slip into trying to like do the thing that would not ostracize me, if you will, meaning like just stay where I was and try to like awkwardly. I ended up figuring out like headphones is probably a decent idea for the first day. Oh wait, no, I did do that second day. First day was just like talking, and I'm like, oh my god, I need to fucking focus right now, what the fuck. But second day I was like, yo, I'm about to be antisocial, everyone, just putting on headphones right now. And then I took my headphones off and I was done. But I would have liked to even do it even longer than I did and that day. But so yeah, what was the fucking thing I was saying? Oh yeah, what didn't work? So that didn't work, trying to just like place people's needs ahead of my own, because I ended up losing the power list for 2 of 4 days that I was gone, just because I didn't properly prioritize things, and it is what it is. I also lost on some other stuff as well because I didn't I procrastinated on certain things, and I let my fears overcome me in many areas, in women, in my my powerless, if you will, because like my fear of being rejected by people because I was prioritizing work over them. I'm trying to think of other examples, but anyways, I was just like overall such a good weekend, but there was more I could have maxed out for sure, especially in the women department. My God. But that's a story for another day. I forgot to say this completely. An action step for that is to I could go and just chill like down the road. I could go to like a coffee shop. I could just put my earphones on and stay there and not give a fuck. There's so many options, but just like creating that focus, creating those expectations, setting expectations with people, and not giving a fuck if they don't agree with them or not. So important, very important. Preventing myself from being too physical in nature. I fucking really don't like this. I like being touchy in a loving way. And I don't want to make people feel uncomfortable, so I kind of hold myself back from doing that sometimes. But like, physical touch is one of my big love languages. I feel so connected to a person when I'm even just have my hand on their shoulder. I'm not keeping it there, but just like touching for a second, like a few seconds, and then taking away. It's just like that physical proximity, that physical contact, tactile feel. If you what is the word for it? Anyways, that, you know what I'm talking about. That means so much for me, and it makes me feel so like it's just such a different connection than if you don't do that, and I've got to do a better job of doing that. What were my biggest lessons? I feel incredibly alive when I'm helping to facilitate magical moments and help people's experiences be incredible. Alright, so as much as I love having my own incredible experiences, I just got such a kick out of this weekend when I'm helping other people who want to have their, like, I want to help other people have the same incredible experiences I've had for myself. So I was loving being in service. That was a very key part of this. Just being in service, being useful, and helping people's experiences go from good to great. Whether that was through the use of having a ton of water in my backpack, and helping people hydrate, using gum as well, helping people with their breath or just like the general feeling in their mouth. What else did I do? Recording videos for people who I wanted them to just enjoy the moment, so I took the phone out of their hands and like did it if I wasn't obsessed with the song, and it's better if they can just enjoy it. So much nicer like that. Also, I feel like there was one more thing: phone charging and Juul charging as well. Having my portable charger there was like life-saving to a ton of people, which was super, super good. And last but not least, definitely shoulder rides. Taking people up for their favorite song, just incredible. Like there's 2 specific moments I'm thinking about. There is a girl and a guy. Different moments, like probably a couple hours apart. But there was even more than that. But anyways, these 2 specific people, they told me it was their favorite rave moments ever. So that was really fucking cool to be a part of, to help them to help them experience that moment. Felt so nice for me. So anyways, I went on a fucking shift, and like especially day 2, I think I did like 13 shoulder rides, maybe more. And it was incredible. And I tried to allow people to pick their favorite song and their favorite set, and just like let me know when type of thing, and I'll put you up type of thing. I was so cooked by the end, meaning like my legs were so dead. I feel like my calves 2x themselves in strength by the end of the weekend, because there was just so much training from shoulder rides. My neck is still in pain from all of the weight on my shoulders and in my neck. But it was so worth it though, all the pain, because I just love the feeling. And the whole point, the lesson here is really just, I love helping people, and I love making their experiences even better and helping to create those magical moments means the fucking world to me. And by the way, I'll quickly share the two specific stories. The one, his name's Anthony, and his favorite song was coming up, and I think he asked me to record it, or either I think he was recording it, and I took it from him and started recording it, and then I'm like, wait a second, this could be even better. So I gave the phone to someone else to record, and then I was like, fuck this, we're putting him up now. And I got behind him, put him on my shoulders, and he said he was just in love with that moment. So that brings me a ton of joy. And then the other one was really cool. It was at Seven Lions, and it was with a girl named Serena, and I put her up. And what was really cool about this moment was it was a drop, so the whole crowd dropped down, so I also dropped down. I've never had this happen before while I was on shoulders. So I dropped down with the whole crowd, so we're just like kneeling, and then like popping up with someone on your shoulders was just like the craziest fucking thing. I loved it so fucking much. And it also ended up being a song that I, days later, would come to love. And we'll talk about that in Obsessed, because it's just such an incredible song. And I'll talk about Seven Lions as well, and Obsessed as well. Psytrance is fucking wicked live. Realize this. Seven Lions was just bananas, and I was losing my fucking mind. I like how I just said I was going to talk about Seven Lions and Obsessed, and I ended up just talking about it right after. But yeah, experimenting with genres, like new genres live, is really fucking cool. Like I did it with Dabin and Seven Lions, and I was fascinated. I'm so used to just going to exactly what I know, and after this event I was like, damn, it can be really fucking nice to take some time and just try new things. Granted, my favorite moments are typically when they play really heavy shit. Like I remember when Dabin played Firewall, I'm like, wait a second, am I hearing Firewall right now? Like the beautiful intro. And Daniel looks at me and you're like, it's in your mind. And then he fucking plays it. I'm like, fuck you, Daniel. So, but yeah, it just really was really cool to just try different things, especially Seven Lions. That was one of my favorite sets all weekend. It was the craziest thing. Listening to some of his music now, it just like gives me chills, especially that one song that I was just talking about, Higher Love. It's so beautiful. He has just so many beautiful songs. I just can't. Underpacking and buying is better than overpacking and just having too much. So I packed less clothes, I packed less gadgets, a lot of just less stuff, and then I just needed to buy a few things. It was so much better, and I'll have to do that absolutely in the future, because I've had such a bad habit with overpacking in the past, and it's just like I don't need everything. I can get stuff if I'm there. Being too early is better than being too late. Almost missed my bus when we were I was headed to Toronto, and that was my fault. And for the longest time, I've just concluded that it's better to be closer to that time because I don't want to sit there and wait. But if I have my phone, I can do so much damage in a good way. So taking that time to just make it useful and being there early, getting there way ahead of time, it's just so much better than I'd rather be there an hour early than 5 minutes late. Okay, that's actually not necessarily true, but in theory, that would be nice. So yeah, that really hit home though on the way home, because I got there way early and I'm like, whoa, like this works. Like we should do this in the future. So I'm going to try to get better with time in that regard in the future. Figure out what the application process is before going super fucking deep on creating some sort of method on my own. So basically what I mean by that is I was looking at the Starbucks application process last week and I'm like, shit, this is not going to work with Notion so well. So had to basically rewrite things, but I did use some of the content which was useful, and I fleshed out the ideas properly in Notion. So it helped me a lot with that. But I just realized, I'm like, fuck, I can't actually use this because it's in a completely different format. So like get practical, use real life examples like I've talked about in the past, instead of trying to just go off and do my own thing. Try to follow guidelines a little bit. And before I go so crazy and haywire on this like narrative that I create in my mind, and that would be the case for this. It was literally just as simple as job search or job application process, Starbucks, or whatever the fuck I'm applying for. Pomodoro Method. So this is a really useful. I've talked about Focus 50 in the past, and Pomodoro Method is basically like Focus 50 in half. Instead of a 50-10 breakdown, it is a 25-5 breakdown. And you repeat that 4 times. So 25 minutes of focused work, deep work, and then 5 minutes of break and chill and recharge. So that 30 minutes block, you repeat that 4 times, and after the 4th, so that's a 2-hour period, if you will, then you take a 10 to 30 minute break, and then you repeat. And this is super fucking cool. Why I like it more than actually Focus 50s is 50 minutes can sometimes seem too big if you don't have momentum in your day. Whereas, 25 minutes is just, it's not much. It's very fucking tiny, especially when you compare it to a 50 or a couple hours. It just seems so fucking tiny. So getting started is so much easier. I've really enjoyed applying this to so many different random things this week, but I'm going to have to continue applying this because it's so good, and it's been so useful so far, especially compared to Focus 50s. Make your cover letter different. I found that when I was reading about potential ways to open up cover letters and like what do's and don'ts, I found that stories and anecdotes and like ways of slipping subconscious ideas about like what you offer, what you bring to the table, what's in it for the employer type of thing, and doing this in like through the method of a story and stuff like that, because you can slip things into stories in a way where it hits the subconscious and bypasses the conscious, and implies things, and you don't need to directly say it. So I think that was really useful, but just like started differently than everyone else, I think is probably the main point here. Don't look the same as everyone else. You can share of course directly, but just like starting it out with a story. What did I start out my story with? I think I started out my story with obsession one day. I tried different things, but just get people excited to read your cover letter. Put in reps. So I had a call with Sam Rukeyser this week, and it was really, really useful on sales tactics and sales advice. Sorry, not sales advice, sales mindset. Well, it was sales advice, but the sales mindset that he's used in his experience with Air. And some of the biggest things were like detachment from the outcome, meaning from my perception at least, it was detaching from whether it was a yes or a no, but almost becoming a matchmaker, looking for that fit. It seemed to be his mindset, which was he viewed himself as a person who is detached for whether they say yes or no, and instead it was just his duty to help find people who do fit, and if they do fit and they still say no, that's completely okay, and that it's not going to be, it will hurt sometimes, and that is completely fine as well, and it's like an ongoing journey to get to that place of detachment, but that is the goal, to where you don't give a fuck whether it's a yes or a no. You're just putting in reps because it's a numbers game, while also keeping in mind, like he said, that it's a balancing act between keeping it like completely data and numbers driven, and also keeping things personal and authentic and customized and keeping things real. So there's a balancing act with that 1000%, but just like each yes and no is an opportunity to learn, to try, to get better, and just being okay with falling in your face if need be. So that call was so fucking useful. Thank you, Sam, so much for that call. It just helps so much. So grateful to have it on recording. On that call, I appreciated so much his vulnerability as well. It was just, he wasn't trying to be perfect about things. He was being very humble in nature. It was really, it was nice to hear. It was nice to listen to. The ideal follow-up time is 2 days over email. I got this from Sam Rukeyser as well. We were talking about, because I've always struggled with like, what is the ideal follow-up time? Because in a perfect world, I would follow up within 10 minutes and keep following up. I just don't know. I've always struggled with not wanting to be annoying, and I also don't want to leave it too late as well. So there's it's that balancing act between, you don't want to, because here's what I wrote down here. Basically, first follow-up, 2 days is ideal. 1 day does not give them enough time to properly check it out, and it kind of seems like annoying and a little bit too persistent in nature, not respecting the other person's time. Whereas like 3 days, they might completely forget about it or just lose interest or excitement altogether. And from there on in, for like follow-up number 2 and until like 7 or whatever, it can be really helpful to leave it as a weekly follow-up instead of every 2 days, if you will. And another huge gem he dropped right there was, if you can, on those follow-ups, aim to provide specific value. You can do this many different ways, but just instead of trying to just get in your follow-ups, try to give in ways you can, and like get creative. There's so many ways we can give. So it'll really help things, I think. What challenges did I experience? With this one specific situation, there was a clear elephant in the room, and the person that I'm thinking of is really, really sensitive, and I just don't even know. I didn't know how to approach it at all. I wasn't sure what the deal with it was. There's so much confusion still, because we're just operating on way different stories in our minds right now, and it's funny to think about. Anyways, the reason I'm bringing this up though is the right people enjoy confrontation, and I really do struggle with that, because she later on, I just said the gender. Anyways, she later on came up to me and was like, said as basically just like made a comment that was like in an effort to start the ball rolling on confronting that specific issue. And I'm like, whoa, she like actually confronted it. Wow. Because I was surprised. I thought she was just trying to run away from reality for this one. And yeah, it's tough for me, because I don't want to just completely just make people uncomfortable all the time. But equally knowing that, or trying to remember that the right people appreciate confrontation. The wrong people don't appreciate confrontation. And also trying to figure out ways of making it easier to make confrontation happen for those people who don't like it. So anyways, this is an ongoing struggle for me, but I'm glad that happened, and I'm glad that we'll deal with this soon. Ooh, had a dinner, or a family dinner, not my family, had a family dinner at Nick's house on the Sunday before I left. And this was a challenge for me, because I am so weird. I am so different than the rest of the world. So I actually like fear these types of dinners, because at some point I'm inevitably going to be asked, so what do you do? Do you go to school? Do you work? Like, what do you do? And I had to like say, I did a really good job, by the way, of like leading the conversation for almost the entire time. But then a question just shot out of left field. I'm like, oh fuck, I almost did the entire thing without it. But I was asked if I went to school, and I said no, I'm not a school type of guy. But I'm an aspiring entrepreneur, and it hasn't worked out so far. But so I do have to get a job. And then we quickly went back and forth, and I was also sweating my ass off during this question, because it just makes me so nervous to talk about in public. Oh my god, because I've just sucked so bad with this historically. Such a weird character, my god. But anyways, yeah, it was cool though. And we also talked about, in that little discussion, of like never giving up, keeping with it, and learning each experience, sticking with it. There was an underlying theme of like trial and error, and also this never ending figuring it out thing. Yeah. And just like also talking about how life is super fucking long, how young we are. Nick super doesn't think he's young. He's so young still. He's not even 30 yet. 30s are babies still. So that's what I think about all that. Anyways, challenging, but not as hard as I make it out to be in my mind. Really wanting to tell someone that I'm attracted to them, but almost like just not doing it, because I'm too scared they don't feel the exact same way about me, and then I'm going to make things super uncomfortable and awkward, because they are not attracted to me emotionally, sexually, etc. And yeah, I just dictated a lot of my life for a decent amount of time now. It's just stupid. I don't know how to get past this. I'll figure it out at some point, but fuck. Oh god, I am like literally at 1.5 months behind content right now. I don't necessarily want to say discouraging, but it's just like I don't want to record right now much. I just want to catch up. I have so many episodes. I'm 15 episodes behind right now. Yeah, I'm very behind. And reflections, I think I'm 7 behind. I just don't really feel like creating a ton of content right now, especially because it's not a priority. It is behind work, it's behind job, it's behind business, it's behind, no, actually, that's probably where it lands. No, health is between that as well. Health is probably first, and then spirituality is actually before that. So it's like 4 or 5 behind. So we'll see when I eventually catch up, but it's also a positive because I can talk about more controversial things easier like I am now, and by the time I get there, I'm more likely to just not care and just put it out and get weird with things. Where did I grow the most? Independence, responsibility, and empowerment. So whether it's like me bussing alone or asking for what I wanted, being more direct in nature, talking to more strangers, being alone in downtown Toronto and Montreal for a bit on in relation to the bus rides. I'm just enjoying getting the fuck out of my comfort zone, getting out of my house, trying different things, enjoying the idea of becoming a little bit a part of society. It's intriguing to me right now. I also feel like I'm taking action steps in areas that scare me, and that feels so fucking good. So to take daily consistent action steps towards a specific target or a specific challenge is really, really rewarding. And it's making me feel like I'm more in control, more empowered, and that I can do this. And like those two kind of points right there are quite combined in that, responsibility and technically 3, but independence and empowerment basically, and also responsibility. I don't know, just I feel like I'm growing a lot in that department. Overall, I just feel like I'm on the verge of just exploding out of my cocoon, and the cocoon has really served me in a lot of ways. In other ways, it has not served me. So it's time to leave and become a motherfucking butterfly, bitch. Festivals, I feel like I am detached so much now. Like I love them, and at the same time they're so fucking silly. Like they're laughably silly. Just to think about how much time and how much money people throw into these things, it just makes me giggle. Like it's cool, but it's not that cool. Discipline to focus on what really matters right now. And for me, what really matters is focusing on my financial situation. I've taken so much time to just for the longest time I've pushed away the idea of getting a job because I wanted to focus on being an entrepreneur, but just taking a step back and I'm just developing the getting a job type of mindset right now, which is not the worst thing ever. It's not as bad as I have been making it out to be in my mind, and there's a lot of benefits to it as well. It's also providing me a lot of relief of pressure financially because I don't have to make Moxey Energetics work right from the fucking get. I can start doing pro bono work. I can start building leverage through working for free and trials and all these types of things that I can do when I do have a job, because I will have the financial support handled on this side, so I can monetize properly later down the road on that side. So, yeah. What am I obsessed with right now? Iced coffee from McDonald's. They had a free McCafe thing on IleSoniq, and it was fucking incredible. To have free coffee is just great. To have free iced coffee was even better. Vanilla is just, I was in awe. I only realized on the second day, unfortunately, but so I had one in the morning on the second day, and then at night I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna be staying up for a long time, I might as well just crack myself out on caffeine right now. So I had 2 iced coffees for excision, downed those, and it was amazing. I felt so high on caffeine, it was crazy. I loved it though so much. As for music, 7 Lions, I'm quickly becoming quite obsessed with him. There was so many magical moments during his sets. I almost didn't go. His set was one of my favorites on the weekend. It might have even been my favorite overall. I was just in love with it. By the way, there's a lot of fucking good sets this weekend. But anyways, 7 Lions. I'm in love with his sounds. His music production is next level. Favorite song probably right now is Higher Love. That was just iconic song. And also the Excision and Wooly collaboration that with 7 Lions that is unreleased right now. So fucking good. It like takes a nice dump on Island quality wise, in my opinion. As for other music, you got Canine Block. When Space Laces played this like second song or whatever, holy fuck. So Daniel and I both knew the song, but I didn't know where exactly it was from. I just knew the song and I knew the lyrics. So like for him to play that tune was amazing because we were both like jamming right beside each other at the time and just yelling the lyrics. It was so funny. It was like, boys in the block, boys in the block, boys in the boys in the boys in the block. And it's this bouncy sound with these screeches at the same time. And these two, I love screeches and I love bounces. They're almost never put together. Those are my two favorite dubstep sounds. And I didn't realize at the time and like how good of a song this was. It took that set to fully appreciate that song, and holy fuck, it's like becoming my favorite song right now. It's so fucking nice. Oh god, I fucking need more songs like Block in my life. Also, Space Laces fucking crushed the first half. I wasn't huge about the last half, but the first half was fucking mental. I was losing my mind. Also, Effin' Lettuce, like that's a song, and the song is called Lettuce. The artist is called Effin', and I heard, I've been looping that a ton. I heard it live. Unfortunately, I was walking away during this. But anyways, there's so many fucking good sets and songs this weekend. My god, too many to name here. That's for fucking sure. Alright, so that was Reflections 57 in the books. That was really strange because I was talking about things that were so old. Things that were like 10 days old because I waited until Tuesday to do this. So yeah, did I even say the date at the beginning of this? Because it's the fucking day is... What day is it? It's August 13th right now. But this was for August 11th and before, if you will. Like Sunday before. Anyways, hope you enjoyed this episode. This episode came out quite weird for me, but I hope there was a ton of nuggets and things you extracted from this. I miss being caught up with content, I must say. I really do. And hope you enjoy this enough to subscribe, to like, to comment, to rate, all that good shit. And as always, appreciate you watching and listening. My name is Josh Moxey, and I will catch you later.